Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Tiff Talk Show with your host, Tiffany O. So glad you could join me again, and I'm so excited about this particular subject. That's why I had to have me a drink, because I know somebody probably out there looking like, what is Tiff getting ready to talk about? Something that everybody has been before, and I'm willing and ready to debate. Everybody played the fool. Everybody has played the fool. Now, if you feel that that category does not apply to you, I would love for you to be a guest on the show. I would love for you to be a guest on the show. And the reason I say that is because too often, what I notice is that we get so comfortable with judging other people in their situations, and I've been guilty of it, but I've also been pulled back in by the reins of experience in the understanding that a lot of things are more easier said than done when you're not the one in the shoes of the individual who's actually going through it. So we're quick to call people, oh, she's stupid for doing that. Oh, he a fool for having to deal with that. But if we were to analyze your situation, you may not be in the same situation, but I can guarantee you that somebody else will probably look at you and say the same exact thing. So I just kind of want to touch on, before you go into judging someone about what they're going through or what they're deciding to deal with, and however long they're deciding to deal with it, take inventory of that time when you were that person. And just because you're not that individual anymore, that does not give you a clean slate to be able to say, couldn't be me, because it was you at one time. And I'm sure your friends could probably attest to that. Yeah? So stay right there. Go grab you some wine. Be right back for the third time. I just like to rhyme. See y'all in a minute. So real quick, I just want to give you guys a real quick tip-top dating tip. Tip-top dating tip. And that's, don't always look for the 5-star restaurant date to end in a 5-star dating series or dating relationship. Just because you go on a 5-star date does not mean it's going to end in a relationship. So be open to those cute little coffee shops or a cute little picnic. It's not where he takes you physically that should determine if, he's qualified to hang out with you. It should be where he takes you mentally that should qualify him. I think that it's really original for somebody to think outside of the box. Movies on a first date, no. If somewhere where it's loud, no. But somewhere where it's quaint and cute, I say always be open to those things. And girls, get cute for that. I mean, you don't have to put on heels or whatnot, but show up for the occasion, if you will. I mean, throw on some mascara. Look like you're trying to land the plane, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm not talking about show no cleavage or whatnot, but it's okay to let them know, hey, you ain't the only one trying to be the only one. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's your tip talk for today. Don't end up at a restaurant that you can't afford to go to. Let him take you to Starbucks. Are y'all still there? Oh, okay, good. Because I was thinking about when you go over there. Especially not when it's talking about here. But I thought I would kind of open up with a story, if you will. I recall, this is real life. Like, I don't want to, fabricate anything. I'm always going to talk about something that has actually happened, so that people can feel like they can relate to me. I don't want to come across as being anything other than organic. But I remember going through a relationship situation where the person had cheated on me, right? And that was probably, I think, the first time I've ever dealt with being cheated on or whatnot. And I was sharing this with someone that was real close to me. And, their reaction was just like, oh, no. Oh, hell no. Like, blah, blah, this is that and the other. And, keep in mind, I'm very young at that time. I'm still trying to process what exactly has happened. And this individual was, just like dead set on, nope, this is what you need to do, and, so on and so forth. And that just it didn't even seem real. Like the advice that they were giving me just kind of seemed like, how do I go about completely disconnecting myself from someone that I love so much and with what I thought was all of my heart, and so on and so forth. But there is something called real life that will happen to all of us. It will happen to everybody. All you gotta do is keep living. And the very thing that had happened to me happened to her almost, I'm gonna say, within a month, right? And the devastation set in? Absolutely. Was I there for that person? Absolutely. Did I ever once say, see, it's not as easy to disconnect from as you thought? No, not once. I was a friend. I was a family member. I was whatever that individual needed at that time, because for me, I needed to be able to see that I wasn't the one that was crazy. I knew I couldn't have been crazy to think that, why can't I just disconnect from this person? What they did was devastating to me. No one deserves that. But it took me to be able to look at somebody else in that same situation and say, now look at you. That's what I was saying to myself. But I don't know if that person ever came to the realization that, wow, I talked all that stuff, and it isn't as easy. As a matter of fact, their escapade, their roller coaster, if you will, lasted longer than mine. But I'm saying all that to say, you got to be careful when you are challenging somebody's storm to say, no, I would have detoured. I would have went another way. I would have took, a train instead of an airplane. Like, cut it. Because I know people like that aren't being honest with themselves. And they're not even telling you, yeah, that was me at one point. You can help people more by being honest about your situation than trying to fabricate and make it look all patty cake and pretty. It's almost like if you want your relationship to seem like it's so perfect to everybody around you. But that's hard to deal with behind closed doors. You dying over here because you're living alone and you're in a relationship. You are by yourself with somebody at the same time. So be careful not to judge people and only point the finger that, yeah, you must be crazy for dealing with that. And I don't care if it's domestic violence, because why they stay, why they deal with it, it's not to be justified to you on why. My thing is, be what that person needs for the moment. Yes, give sound advice, but don't give advice that in that moment is not even, you can't even absorb that, because you say just pack up your things and leave. Yes, that would be the right and rational thing to do. But to the individual that's actually going through that, it may not be that easy, even if it means saving their lives. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So I just want people to know, if you somebody that's so quick to call somebody else stupid, so quick to call somebody else a fool, just remember, just because you're wearing Gucci slippers and I'm wearing a Gucci heel, they both still Gucci. Okay? So don't try to be the fool of a higher scale. Or, I know I was a fool, but I wasn't that kind of fool. Fool! You was still a fool. Okay? And it's not to say anything bad, but embrace your experiences and share them. Stop trying to be so perfect around imperfect people. Nobody's perfect. So if you know you have a friend that's going through something, be what that friend needs, even if it's an ear. Now, I'm not saying just be an ear, because sometimes we got to pull our friends by the coattails. And if your friend respects your relationship, and you saying, "Hey, friend, look, this is not a good look on you. Let me tell you what I see. I see me. I remember when I was dating, Rod, and he and I went through X, Y, and Z. Give people some relatable examples that they can look through the situation and see themselves, and not see somebody that's trying to paint some superficial picture that's not even real. Paint a real picture for the people around you, and stop pointing at everybody saying, you must be crazy for dealing with that. Because if nighttime turned into daytime while you were in your mess, I guarantee you those words would change. So that has been my time for today. Please join me on my next show, where I have a very special guest, and we're going to talk about dad, but not the dad you're thinking about. Dating after divorce. So be sure to tune in on next week when we hook up with the dad. Talk to you soon. It's been my time. Tiff Talk Show every Tuesday with your host, Tiffany O. See you next time.